Right now on IUSTV News, Bloomington is feeling the coldest temps we've seen all year. What that means for homeless in the community and how they are staying warm.
And from stranded drivers to icy crashes, Indiana State Police faced a surge of calls after heavy snowfall hit southern Indiana.
But first, flu cases are rising in Indiana this winter. Why it matters and how you can stay healthy this flu season.
After the major snowstorm this weekend, I'll break down what conditions look like now and what you can expect heading into the rest of this week.
If you've been feeling under the weather lately, you're not alone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Audrey Lash.
And I'm Paris Payton. The start of the new semester is bringing more sick cases than usual, and it's not just here on campus.
That's right. Data from the CDC shows that cases and hospitalizations from the flu are spiking nationwide. Our Elena Prinsinski is standing by with more information. Elena?
Thanks, guys. Although you haven't seen them for a while, these masks are making a comeback, and it's because of the super flu. This flu is causing hospitalizations all over the nation, but especially here in Indiana. Marcy Tidwell, a nurse at the IU Student Health Center, shared what the super flu really means.
It's a new branch. It's called the subclade K. So basically it's a genetic variation that was new and was not something that was unfortunately covered by the current flu vaccine. It showed up after.
Symptoms of the ongoing flu include high fever, cough, severe body aches, chills, headache, and sore throat. If you're feeling these symptoms, healthcare workers encourage you to rest, take a flu test, avoid others, hydrate aggressively, and visit your doctor or the IU Health Center for antibiotics. Tidwell said that the best treatment for the flu is prevention. Wash your hands, don't touch your face, avoid sharing food and drinks, and wear a mask. While the current flu shot doesn't guarantee prevention from the new flu variation, medical workers continue to urge everyone to get their flu shot. You can get your flu shot at the IU Health Center or any local pharmacy like CVS and even Kroger. For IUSTV News, I'm Elena Prinsinski. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks, Helena. It was a busy weekend for the Indiana State Police. Some spots in Bloomington got up to 14 inches of snow. Between Saturday evening and early Monday morning, the Bloomington district received 147 calls related to the severe winter weather. Officers responded to 62 motorists needing assistance. They investigated 5 crashes and handled 18 slide-offs. The interstate was checked 58 times and 3 traffic hazards were addressed.
Fishers police say a missing 17-year-old is now considered an endangered missing juvenile. Take a look at your screen. This is a photo of Haley Busby. Police say Busby is believed to have run away from her home near 101 Street and Flat Fort Creek Park around 10 p.m. on Monday, January 5th. Fishers police say they are working around the clock and investigating every tip as they continue the search. Anyone with information is asked to call 911 or contact Fishers police.
A bill that would change how your utility bill is calculated is moving forward at the State House. The bill would require utility companies to meet certain performance goals before they are allowed to raise rates. Lawmakers also added language requiring utilities to release new information when applying for a rate increase. The committee included a provision that would prohibit utility shutoffs between June 1st and September 23rd, though leaders say that timeline could change as the bill moves through the legislative process.
All right, let's turn to weather now. Audrey, can you look at all that snow that we got?
Oh my gosh, it is miserable outside.
Yeah.
It is freezing cold. There's snow everywhere. I was sliding getting here earlier.
Oh my God.
Maya, what do you have to say about all this snow?
Yeah, so definitely was a crazy weekend, but I mean, we've got, these are the temperatures this week. I mean, a low of 7 in Rushville. Here in Bloomington, we have 11 degrees. Coming up next, this week, I can tell you it's going to be a very cloudy week. There's not going to be a lot of sun coming out. We still have that cold advisory that we've had for a while now. And is it going to be snowing next week? I will tell you a little bit later. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, Maya. We'll check back in with you later. With icy sidewalks and earlier sunsets, the winter can make getting around campus feel more dangerous for students. IUPD says the best tips are slowing down, looking up from your phone, and wearing bright clothing to stay visible. Whether walking or driving, it's important to stay aware of your surroundings. Police say when students stay alert and drivers accommodate for snow and other winter conditions, accidents are more preventable.
Safety is a shared responsibility. It is not all on the pedestrian to stay safe and not all on the driver. We have to work together.
If you see something unusual on campus, call 911.
Still ahead, the speed limit is changing on a busy local highway. We'll tell you what brought the change and how fast you'll be going.
Plus, the Hamilton Lugger School is making changes to its language programs. See if your major made the list.
And later, new data reveals the latest on child fatalities in Indiana. We'll break down what's behind the numbers.
Welcome back.
Now, as Bloomington residents face the freezing cold, there is a vulnerable population of people at risk of facing the cold from the streets.
Our Mike Badroff is here to tell us more about it.
Thank you. And yes, due to policy changes from the federal government, formerly unhoused and disabled residents are facing homelessness once again. I spent the last 6 months talking to program leaders, city officials, and aid recipients about what the funding changes could lead to, and all signs point to a homelessness crisis.
It is freezing cold in Bloomington, but it is even colder outside for those without a home.
It's everything. It's my home. I never appreciated those words, so I didn't have one. And now I'm going to lose it.
That was 54-year-old Candace Goffinet. She was homeless for 5 years before arriving at Beacon Inc.'s doorstep for help. Now, with little warning, she's facing homelessness once again due to policy changes from within President Donald Trump's administration.
I can't just go get another apartment. It's not that easy for me. I'm on disability. I can't just go get a job and have enough money to make it.
The funding decrease comes specifically from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and their Continuum of Care competition. Their 2025 competition limits aid organizations to only use 30% of the renewal funds toward permanent housing programs, effectively ending their support and forcing organizations into less effective models. Reverend Forrest Gilmore, executive director of Beacon, said the changes would render hundreds of their residents homeless, and Beacon would lose the ability to help hundreds more.
But what do city officials have to say about this impending ordeal? I came right here to City Hall to interview homelessness response coordinator Brian Giffen, who said that the city's unsure where to start for making a backup plan if the funding falls through.
At this point, I don't know what backup plans we could possibly have. I mean, that level of funding is not something that we can replace as a city or even as like a state. So at that point, we would just kind of be in like an emergency management situation.
Giffen also says that Bloomington would not be able to handle the increased unhoused population, stating that multiple of the city's emergency shelters are already at capacity.
I mean, we would see progressively more and more, street homelessness, unsheltered homelessness, and we would see very particularly vulnerable people out on the street with nowhere to go, right? I mean, most of the people that are in permanent supportive housing, or all of them, have a disability, right? And most of them have some type of disability that would prevent them from being able to survive and protect themselves on the street.
The battle for funding support now rests in the hands of the law, as Rhode Island District Court Judge Mary McElroy has ruled the changes to the competition illegal, and now providers wait for a final court decision, with thousands of lives hanging in the balance. Reporting from Bloomington for IUSTV News, I'm Mike Badroff.
The changes are not set in stone, as a lawsuit is keeping the policy changes at bay. If you're looking for ways to support the lawsuit and revert the funding changes, reach out to local legislators, aid programs, and your representatives to see how you can help too. That's all from me. I'll send it right back to Audrey and Paris.
New numbers from the Indiana Department of Child Services show that dozens of child deaths in the state last year were linked to abuse or neglect. In its 2024 Child Fatality Report, DCS says it investigated 276 child deaths statewide and determined that 59 of those deaths were the result of abuse or neglect. The report shows the majority of victims were children 3 years old or younger. DCS also found weapons, including body parts, were the leading cause of death in 20% of these cases. Unsafe sleeping conditions, poisoning, and drowning were also among the most common contributing factors. For more information, you can check the DCS website.
If you've driven on State Road 45 or 46, recently you may have noticed new speed limit signs. Effective as of January 15th, NDOT lowered the speed limit on a section of State Road 45 and 46. The speed limit was changed from 45 to 40 miles per hour on the part of the road between North Kinser Pike and 10th Street. The change was made to reduce crashes along that stretch.
State and federal laws, along with cuts over the past year, have had an impact on IU. The deans of the Hamilton Luger School for Global and International Studies hosted a town hall to answer questions about what all these mean for the school. Our Joshua Summers was there.
Hamilton Luger deans hosted a town hall to address student and staff concerns around federal and state funding and degrees slated to be cut by an Indiana state law. Hamilton Luger deans expressed sympathy with those affected by cuts and stated that the school is dedicated to freedom of speech and maintaining all areas of study.
We're not getting rid of any area in terms of regional or thematic expertise that we've taught in the past. We are preserving the opportunity for students to continue to specialize in everything that they could do previously.
Dean John Chorchieri believed the town hall went well and addressed many of the fears students had.
I think it went quite well. Students had a lot of good questions about what's happening at the campus and university levels, about what's happening at the state and federal levels as well. Students are right to be asking tough questions about how all of these changes affect their studies.
Students, however, remain frustrated with the lack of a concrete plan.
What I want to hear is that they're willing to put a plan in place, that they're willing to protect students and staff, and that's not what I heard at all. What I heard was there is no plan, and while they're working with the chancellor to try to create a plan, it's not going anywhere. Those aren't the kind of answers that in this day and age we can accept.
Others feel as though the school has not responded appropriately to cuts to federal funding.
I am deeply unsatisfied with the answers I was provided. I asked them, why have they not communicated with me? Why have they not provided graduate students with other sources of funding? All they said was that I should have read the fine print of my scholarship.
While administration believes that they have addressed many of the concerns that students face, some students still remain apprehensive about the future at Hamilton Luger. Joshua Summers, IUSTV.
All right, my Monsalve is back now. That snow out there is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that snow this weekend, it got at least to a foot, and I'm sure none of you want to know more about cold weathers, but unfortunately, that's all I have for you tonight. Our 9 p.m. is going to be 9, our 12 a.m. midnight is going to be 4, and at 3 a.m. if you're still outside, it's going to be 1 degree. Tomorrow morning, if you're walking your dog, please don't. It's going to be negative 2 degrees outside all the way until 7 a.m. 8 a.m. the sun finally rises, but it's still only 0 degrees. For our 7-day forecast, it's looking low all across the board. We don't get higher than 20 degrees until next week. We have some 24, 29, but it's still cloudy, so don't rely on those numbers. It's still going to be quite cloudy. Our lows around are 0, 1, 4, 6, so really stay inside, bundle up, and stay safe, okay? And that's my weather for this week. What do you guys think about that? I know it wasn't the best news, but I can't get much more.
I mean, it's better than our little snow blizzard that we had, but
yeah,
I
don't
just want
see
it to
any
be gone.
snow.
I'm ready for summer.
No snow this upcoming week. Hopefully it melts, but it's definitely not going to get warm.
All right, well, thanks, Maya.
guys, wow, it's been a big few weeks in sports after a historic national championship for the Hoosiers and with the Super Bowl on the way. Our Graham DeWitt breaks it all down next.
Flippin' champs. That's what many Hoosier fans were saying last week. For the first time in 2026, welcome to sports. I'm Graham DeWitt. I know it's already been a week since the big game, but it still feels like it happened yesterday. After cruising through their first 2 playoff games, the Hoosiers took home their first ever national championship in football, defeating the Miami Hurricanes 27-21 on Monday, January 19th. After the victory, the celebration was immediate. Fans flooded Kirkwood, getting on top of the buildings, pulling roadsides out of the ground, and even lighting a couch on fire. Putting the crazier activities aside, the fans filled that road from Sample Gates all the way to Grant Street, staying for several hours to enjoy the win. Last week was also marked with several celebratory events. This included the championship trophy making stops through the Kroger on College Mall and Walmart on State Road 45, multiple players making public appearances, and a formal celebration being held at Memorial Stadium last Saturday. Curt Cignetti finishes 27-2 in his first 2 years as Indiana's head coach, the most wins by a football head coach in that time span. The Hoosiers are the first team in the modern era to finish 16-0, completing what is one of, if not the greatest turnaround in sports history. With the season over, several players, including Fernando Mendoza, Elijah Surratt, Omar Cooper, Mikhail Kamara, and D'Angelo Pons have all declared for the NFL Draft. Most notably, Mendoza is currently projected to be taken as the first overall pick by the Las Vegas Raiders. More players are expected to declare in the coming weeks. Now from the gridiron to the hardwood, let's take a look at men's basketball. Last Friday, the Hoosiers traveled to New Jersey to play the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers and got the win 82-59. 3 Hoosiers scored over 20 points, with Lamar Wilkerson leading the way with 27. Following him was Nick Dorn, who made his first start for the Hoosiers in place of Tatum Connerway, scoring 23. And Tucker DeVries had 22, while also bringing down 10 rebounds for a double-double. This game snapped their road losing streak to the Scarlet Knights and is their first win at Rutgers since 2018. The Hoosiers move on to 13-7 on the season and are back in action later tonight here in Bloomington versus rival Purdue. But from one basketball game against Purdue to another, our women's team played them in West Lafayette last Sunday. Despite a 37-point outing from Shea Shesky, the Hoosiers fell to the Boilers 80-69. The loss brings their record down to 11-10 and 0-9 in conference play. They're now set to take on the 9th-ranked Michigan Wolverines at Assembly Hall this Thursday. Moving on from college sports, last Sunday, the stage for Super Bowl 60 was officially set, as the New England Patriots will take on the Seattle Seahawks. Let's take a look at some of the biggest storylines heading into this game. For starters, it's a rematch of Super Bowl 49 from 11 years ago. Now, how did that game go? Well, it's best known for having one of the most, if not the most exciting endings in Super Bowl history. With the ball at the 1-yard line and only 20 seconds left in the game, the Seahawks made the controversial decision to throw the ball instead of handing it off to their star running back Marshawn Lynch. This resulted in Malcolm Butler's iconic goal line interception, allowing the Patriots to seal a victory with a final score of 28-24, giving Tom Brady his 4th Super Bowl. Speaking of Brady, New England is only 7 years removed from his departure, but they've already found his replacement. Second-year quarterback Drake May has emerged, throwing for over 4,000 yards and 31 touchdowns in the regular and postseasons. After the Patriots only won 4 games in each of the past 2 years, May and their first-year head coach Mike Vrabel pushed the team to a 14-3 record at the end of the regular season. Now, despite the success, the team has received a lot of criticism for having an easy schedule, something IU football fans are familiar with. The Patriots notably had 7 games against teams picking in the top 10 of the NFL Draft, and the previous game was in fact played against the Denver Broncos team whose starting quarterback was hurt. But easy schedule or not, they will be put to the test against Seattle. And while New England's quarterback story is that of a rising star, Seattle's is one of redemption. Sam Darnold, like Drake May, was originally drafted 3rd overall. However, his first 5 years spent with the New York Jets and Carolina Panthers were marked with struggles. After spending his 6th year as a backup, he finally broke out last season in Minnesota. Seattle chose to take a chance on him, and it has more than paid off, especially as Darnold has formed an incredible connection with their 3rd-year receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba. The main reason for the team's success, though, has been their incredible defense, which is allowing the least amount of points per game and is also number 1 in turnovers. The Seahawks are currently 4.5 favorites to win the big game. This matchup is shaping up to be a good one. And for the latest on all things IU sports, be sure to tune in each week to Hoosier Sports Night. You can catch it on Thursdays on IUSTV. But that's going to be all for sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Graham, and thank you for watching IUSTV News.
For updates between newscasts, check out IUSTV.com and be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X. We're back here next week. See you then.